Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today we're lacing up our virtual hiking boots.
Oh, sounds adventurous. Where are we headed?
We're off to explore the Langtang Valley Trek in Nepal.
The Himalayas. Always a good choice.
Absolutely. And we're using an article by David Ways for this. He's a pretty well-known Nepal guidebook author.
Oh, yeah, I've seen his stuff. So, Langtang Valley is one of those classic treks, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Consistently ranked in the top 5 most popular treks in Nepal, actually.
I can see why. Great escape from the city, but not too hardcore.
That's the balance, isn't it? Accessible, but still feels remote.
Speaking of accessible, how easy are we talking here?
Well, David Ways actually describes this trek as easy.
Easy for the Himalayas.
Yeah, might surprise some people, but we'll get into the specifics later.
Makes you wonder, how is it so easy to get to?
Good question. It's not like those weeks-long treks just to reach the trailhead.
Right, so what's the deal with Langtang?
From Kathmandu, it's about a 6-hour drive north.
Not too bad, and that gets you right to the Langtang region.
Yep, right on the border of Tibet.
So you could literally be in a city square 1 minute, then on a mountain trail the next.
Pretty much. That's a big part of the appeal, I think.
Gotta love that contrast. And what about the scenery? What's it known for?
Think lush valleys, forests full of bamboo and rhododendrons.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture.
And of course, you can't forget those snow-capped peaks.
Ah, the Himalayas. Can't go wrong with those views.
Definitely not. But this region was hit hard by that earthquake back in 2015.
Oh, right.
Hmm.
Has it recovered enough to support tourism?
There's been a pretty remarkable recovery effort. A lot of the tea houses and lodges have been rebuilt.
That's good to hear. Shows the resilience of the locals.
Definitely. So we've got this accessible trek, stunning location.
But it's still multi-day, high altitude, right?
Before we get too romantic about it all,
What are some key facts people should know?
well, you're looking at about 7 to 9 days to complete the full trek.
Okay, that's doable. How far are we talking, distance-wise?
Roughly 79 kilometers.
All right, and highest point. Got to be ready for that altitude.
Hits 4,300 meters at Kianjanri.
Okay, so not Everest, but still got to be prepared.
Trails are well maintained, but yeah, you need a decent level of fitness.
So not just a casual stroll for anyone, then?
Maybe not. It's not climbing Everest,
Right, there's a scale.
but still, David Ways calls it easy compared to other Himalayan treks.
Ah, so relative difficulty. Gotcha.
Exactly. Be honest about your fitness level.
Mm.
And any pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, altitude can mess with you.
Definitely. Which reminds me, Nepal made some changes to its trekking rules, right?
They did, yeah. Big one, actually.
Big how?
As of March 2023, no more independent trekking in Nepal.
What? Even if you're experienced?
Nope. Langtang National Park included. You need a guide.
Wow, that's a shift. Why the change?
Nepal Tourism Board cited safety concerns.
Makes sense. Anything else?
Also, supporting the local economy, making sure guides benefit.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Even if you prefer solo, gotta adjust expectations now.
True. And factor in that guide cost.
But hey, local expert along could enhance the experience too.
True. It's not all bad. What are the benefits beyond the safety?
Well, you get all that local knowledge. Navigation, identifying plants, animals.
Right. They're like walking encyclopedias.
Plus, stories about the culture, history,
Oh, that's cool. Like having a personal storyteller.
and the logistics. They handle booking accommodation, permits.
Oh, that's a huge help, especially in a new place.
So we've got our boots, our guide,
Mm.
starting to understand the scope.
Yeah, the picture's getting clearer. So where does this Langtang Valley trek actually begin?
It all starts in Shabrabesi, a small village.
And how do we get there?
You reach it by road from Kathmandu.
And from there, lead the way.
You basically follow the Langtang Kola, a glacial river.
Following the river, classic trek move.
It winds through the valley. The trail's pretty diverse.
Diverse how?
You go from dense forests to open meadows, gradually ascending.
Okay, I can picture it. Lush green valleys, snow-capped peaks.
Perfect for those Instagram shots.
Haha, yeah. But we did talk about being prepared, weather-wise.
Right. Even during peak season, there's that cloud cover thing.
David Ways mentioned that, didn't he?
He did. So pack your patience along with the rain gear.
And maybe an extra day or two just in case.
Exactly. Flexibility is key.
So that means monsoon season is a hard no.
Absolutely. June to mid-September, way too much rain.
Right, landslides and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Safety first. We've established the starting point, the river route.
Diverse landscapes, yeah. But what about the people?
Good point. What about those villages, the communities along the way?
Any cultural highlights we should know about?
The Langtang Valley is home to several Tamang villages.
Come on.
It's an ethnic group. They're known for their hospitality.
Oh, nice. Like welcoming vibes.
Very much so. They've got vibrant clothing, jewelry, unique architecture.
Sounds like a cool cultural experience.
Definitely.
Yep.
And staying in those tea houses,
Yeah.
interacting with the villagers, that's a highlight.
Yeah, it's not just about the mountains, it's about the people too.
Well said. Okay, before we get to the day-by-day itinerary.
Let's talk highlights. What makes Langtang Valley so special?
All right, let's do it. First off, you can't beat those mountain vistas.
The Himalayas. Gotta have those.
And we're talking up close and personal with some iconic peaks.
Give me some names. Which ones will we see?
Well, there's Langtang Lirung, highest in the region,
How high are we talking?
over 7,200 meters.
Whoa, that's massive. Twice the height of Kanjinri, right?
Almost. And then there's Langtang Ri, Dorje Lakpa.
Okay, I'm getting serious mountain envy over here.
Haha, it's pretty spectacular. And for wildlife fans, Langtang National Park is a haven.
Ooh, wildlife. Like what?
Himalayan black bears, Himalayan tahr, monkeys.
Himalayan tahr, what even are those?
They're a type of wild goat, super agile, adapted to the terrain.
Mountain goats. I can dig it.
David Ways describes them as mountain acrobats, leaping across cliffs.
Whoa, seriously. I gotta see one of those.
But are wildlife sightings guaranteed? Sadly, no.
Ah, bummer. It's nature. Gotta be lucky.
But even without the tahr or red pandas, the landscape itself is amazing.
True, it's all alive. Flowers, trees, those glacial rivers.
It's a nature lover's dream. So we've covered the basics, challenges, highlights.
Now for the nitty-gritty, how do we actually do this trek?
Well, with the new guide rule, you've got two main options.
Lay 'em on me, what are they?
Package treks or hiring a local guide directly.
Okay, break it down for me. Package treks first.
All right, package treks are basically all-inclusive deals. They take care of everything.
Everything. Like what?
Permits, transportation, accommodation, meals, the guide.
So one-stop shop. Sounds pretty convenient.
Definitely, especially if you like things structured, hassle-free.
I can see the appeal, but there's gotta be a downside.
Well, they tend to be pricier than other options.
Right, you're paying for that convenience. Anything else?
You might not have much flexibility with the itinerary or choosing your guide in advance.
Okay, trade-off. So what about hiring a local guide directly?
That's option 2. Could be a great way to save money and have more control.
More control, how so?
You're in charge of everything. Finding the guide, booking accommodation, permits.
Sounds like more work.
It is. You need to be comfortable negotiating, communicating clearly,
Right, being proactive.
and maybe have some backup plans in case things go wrong.
That can be a little daunting for some travelers.
It can. David Ways stresses doing your research, being specific.
Specific about what?
What you want from your trek. Tell the guides how long you want to trek for, the difficulty,
Makes sense. No surprises.
and any specific interests. Wildlife viewing, cultural stuff.
Good to lay it all out beforehand.
Definitely. Before we wrap up this part, let's talk timing. When's the best time for this adventure?
Okay, when should we pack our bags?
Well, we know monsoon season is out. So the traditional peak seasons for Nepal.
Mid-September to November, February to April.
Right, you got it. Most stable weather then.
But we mentioned that Langtang can be a bit quirky weather-wise,
Yeah, that lower altitude thing. Cloud cover can be a pain.
even during those ideal months.
Yep. David Ways says to add a buffer day or two to your itinerary.
Just in case those clouds roll in. Makes sense.
Wouldn't want to miss those mountain views.
Yeah.
Now, what about winter? Is that doable?
Winter in the Himalayas sounds intense.
It is possible, but be prepared for colder temperatures.
Colder than usual. How so?
Langtang's lower elevation makes it chilly in winter.
So extra layers, warm gear.
Definitely. And just to reiterate, monsoon season is still off the table, right?
Absolutely. No landslides for us, thanks.
Safety first. Now let's move on to permits and gear, the essentials.
All right, what do we absolutely need?
You need 2 permits, the Langtang National Park permit and the TIMS card.
Tim's cart, what's that?
It stands for Trekkers Information Management System.
Sounds official.
It's a registration system. Tracks trekkers, ensures safety,
Safety and...
contributes to insurance for guides and porters.
Okay, that's good. So even with a guide, we need both permits.
Both are mandatory. Your guide usually helps with the TIMS card.
Gotcha. And the national park permit.
You can get that yourself in Kathmandu.
Permits, check. Now, gear. What are the must-haves for a comfy trek?
Sturdy hiking boots, for sure. The terrain's varied. Got to protect those feet.
Okay, solid footwear. What else?
Good wind cheater jacket and layers. Mountain weather changes fast.
Layers are key, I hear that. What about water? Navigation.
Water bottles, definitely. David Weiss is big on bringing a water purification system.
Really? Why's that?
Bottled water is not always reliable, and a purifier is eco-friendly too.
Good point. What about maps?
Maps essential, even if the trails are well marked.
And what about those side treks? Any special gear for those?
Trekking poles can be super helpful, especially on those steep bits.
For stability.
Yeah, and they take pressure off your knees.
So, boots, layers, wind cheater, water, purifier, map, poles. What am I forgetting?
Sunglasses and sunscreen.
Easy to forget those when you're thinking about all the warm gear.
Sun's intense, even in the mountains. And one last water tip.
I'm with it.
Even with a purifier, boil your water as an extra precaution, especially if you have a sensitive stomach.
Good advice. Okay, we got permits, gear. I'm starting to feel ready. What's next?
In the next part, we'll dig into the difficulty level, food, accommodation, and those all-important costs.
Can't wait. Let's get to it. Welcome back. So last we left off, we were talking about the easy difficulty rating for this trek.
Right, David Weiss calls it easy. But is that really accurate?
I mean, it's all relative, right? Compared to other Himalayan treks.
But it's still high altitude, multiple days.
True. I gotta be realistic about the physical challenges.
What are some things trekkers should be aware of?
Well, you're gaining serious altitude over those days.
Yeah, we mentioned Kyanjin-ri at 4,300 meters.
Right. Acclimatization is key. And there are some steep parts.
Especially on day 5, going up to Kyanjin-gompa.
Yeah, that one's a bit of a climb.
Even for experienced hikers.
Yeah.
So anyone new to this or worried about altitude?
Definitely talk to their doctor first.
Good advice. David Weiss actually tells this story in his guidebook.
Oh, a story. Tell me more.
About this group of trekkers, they totally underestimated the altitude.
Oh no. What happened?
Had to turn back early.
That's a bummer. But a good lesson learned, I guess.
Right. Preparation and self-awareness are so important.
Absolutely. Don't push yourself beyond your limits.
Speaking of pushing limits, there's the mental side of trekking too.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other thing. It's not just physical.
What do you mean?
You're out of your comfort zone, unpredictable weather, maybe some aches and pains.
Right, and you're constantly pushing yourself to keep going.
It's a test of resilience, sometimes just putting one foot in front of the other.
You feel like climbing a mountain.
Exactly. But that's also part of the appeal, right?
Yeah, testing your boundaries. Seeing what you're made of.
And that sense of accomplishment when you reach your destination.
Nothing beats that. I did it. So, any specific parts of this track that are known for being tough?
There's that day 5 climb we mentioned, up to Kyanjin-gompa.
Right. Long, steep.
David Weiss calls it a gut check moment. But he says the views from Kyanjin-gompa,
Worth it.
totally worth it. Now let's talk about something more fun.
Fun. Like what?
The food. What can we expect along the way?
Oh, the culinary delights.
One of the best parts of trekking in Nepal. Langtang has some good stuff.
So it's not just endless plates of delpat.
Haha, not just delpat, though it's definitely there.
I'm not sure I could survive on rice and lentils for 9 days straight.
Don't worry, you'll have options. Noodles, momos,
Momos. Love those.
pancakes, curries. Some places even have Western dishes.
Like what?
Chicken sizzlers, steaks.
Okay, now we're talking. What about vegetarian options?
Plenty of those too. Just let your guide or the tea house staff know.
Good to know. And speaking of tea houses, David Weiss had that golden rule about dining.
Oh yeah, I remember that. What was it again?
Eat at the tea house where you're staying.
No, trying out different places.
Not if you want to avoid some price hikes on your accommodation.
Ah, so it's about supporting the local businesses.
Mm,
Makes sense.
exactly. So we've had our delicious local food.
Time to rest those weary legs. Where do we stay?
Right, the accommodation. What are our options?
You'll find a range. Some tea houses are basic shared bathrooms.
Right, keeping it simple.
Others are more like lodges, private bathrooms, hot showers.
Ooh, fancy. Even Wi-Fi.
Sometimes, yeah. And standards have improved a lot, especially after the earthquake.
Good to know. But David Weiss also mentioned some overcharging issues in certain areas.
Oh, right. Where was it again?
Lama Hotel and Langtang, specifically.
Why those places?
Seems some tea house owners are trying to make up for lost income
Lost income. How so?
with fewer solo trekkers.
Right, that new rule.
They're charging higher prices to those who don't eat all their meals there.
So if you're with a guide, you're probably okay.
It seems that way. Guides know the places, can negotiate,
Good to have that local knowledge.
but if you were trekking solo, which you can't anymore,
Right. Gotta follow the rules.
David Weiss says to be upfront about your budget to avoid any issues.
Good advice. So let's talk costs.
The big question, Right. Trekking can be affordable, but there are expenses.
What are we looking at budget-wise?
Biggest expense now is the guide fee.
Yeah, with the new rule, how much are we talking?
Depends on experience, length of trek, but
Ballpark.
anywhere from $25 to $50 per day.
Okay, got to factor that in. What about permits?
Those are about $40 total.
All right. And accommodation? Food?
Accommodations $5 to $10 per night, depends how fancy you want to get.
Right, from basic to lodge style. And food,
Another $5 to $10 per meal, give or take.
plus transportation to the trailhead.
Right. All things considered, it's still pretty affordable, especially compared to other treks.
Definitely. And there are ways to cut costs if you need to.
Like what?
Bring your own water filter, like David Ways suggests.
Saves money on bottled water, and it's better for the environment.
And carry your own luggage instead of hiring a porter.
Good tips. So we've covered prep, challenges, rewards, even costs. Ready to hit the trail virtually.
I'm ready. Lace up those virtual boots.
Okay, let's walk through that day-by-day itinerary. Really get a feel for this trek.
From start to finish.
We begin in Kathmandu. Meet your guide, hop on a bus or jeep.
Scenic ride to the trailhead.
6 hours to Siabrubisi, soaking in the views.
Day 1, the anticipation builds.
Day 2, the trek officially begins.
Finally, where do we go?
From Siabrubisi, you head towards Lama Hotel.
Lama Hotel. Okay, what's the elevation there?
2,400 meters. It's a charming little village.
And what's the trek like?
You're hiking through forests of rhododendron and bamboo,
Beautiful.
getting glimpses of those snowy peaks.
Sounds like a great first day.
It is relatively easy, good for acclimatizing.
So day 3, what's next?
Day 3 takes you from Lama Hotel to Langtang Village.
Langtang Village, all right. Getting higher now.
Yep, to 3,430 meters. Still trekking through forests, crossing those suspension bridges,
Suspension bridges. A little nerve-wracking, but fun.
and you might even see some monkeys.
Monkeys. I love it.
Then, as you approach Langtang Village,
What happened?
the valley opens up. You get those breathtaking views of Langtang Lirong and other peaks.
Wow, I can just imagine it. So day 4.
Day 4 is all about exploring Langtang Village.
Immersing ourselves in the local culture.
Exactly. You could visit the monastery, hang out with the villagers.
Maybe try making some momos.
Exactly. It's also a good day to rest, acclimatize more.
Smart. Because day 5...
Is a climb.
We've talked about this climb. Ready for it?
Day 5 takes you from Langtang Village up to Kianjin Gompa,
Gyeongjin Gompa. Another step up in altitude.
up to 3,870 meters. It's a day of steep ascents, switchbacks.
Challenging.
But oh, those views.
We've heard about these views. Tell me more.
You'll see the Langtang River, those glaciers,
Wow.
prayer flags fluttering in the wind.
Sounds magical.
And as you reach Kianjin
The
Gompa,
big reveal.
panoramic views of all the surrounding peaks. Langtang Lirong, front and center.
Okay, that climb is sounding more and more worth it.
It's a tough day,
Yeah.
but so rewarding. Reaching Kianjin Gompa.
Must feel amazing.
It does. And you've got time to explore the area, visit the cheese factory.
A cheese factory
But
in
yeah.
Himalayas.
Yep. Or hike up to Kanjin-ri for sunset.
So many options. Okay, day 6. What's in store?
Day 6, you get to really soak it all in. The grandeur of the Langtang Valley.
A day to relax and enjoy.
You can hike up to Kanjin-ri, highest point on the trek.
Oh, we talked about that. Those 360-degree views.
It's a vista you won't forget. But if you're not up for the climb,
A year or other ways to spend the day.
totally. Explore around Kanjin Gompa, shorter hikes, visit the monastery.
Or just chill and enjoy the peace.
Exactly. Day 7, it's time to start heading back down.
Back down. Already.
From Kanjin Gompa, you trek back to Lama Hotel,
Retracing our steps.
reflecting on the scenery, enjoying those downhill stretches.
Downhill sounds good right about now. Anything else?
The vegetation changes as you descend. More pine and fir forests.
A different kind of beauty. What about wildlife?
Keep an eye out. You might see deer, even a red panda.
No way. Red pandas. That would be amazing.
Day 8, you continue down from Lama Hotel.
All the way back to Siabrubesi.
Yep, where it all began. More forests, rivers, villages.
Soaking up those last moments.
And day 9.
Back to Kathmandu.
That's right. Time to say goodbye to the Langtang Valley.
Bittersweet, but all good things must come to an end.
And time to start planning the next adventure. Before we wrap up completely,
What else is there?
you mentioned options for shortening the trek.
Oh, yeah. For those with less time,
What are they?
you could hike straight to Lama Hotel on day 1.
Skipping Shabrabesi.
Yep. Or arrange private transport from Shabrabesi back to Kathmandu on day 8.
Saves a day of travel. Good options to know.
Definitely. Makes the trek even more flexible.
Stay tuned for the final part. We'll sum it all up and talk about resources for planning your own Langtang Valley adventure.
Welcome back. We've covered a lot of ground on our virtual Langtang Valley trek.
We have forests, viewpoints, the culture. It's been quite a journey.
So as we wrap up, what are some key things our listeners should take away?
If they're thinking about doing this trek themselves, you mean?
Exactly. What really stood out for me is how accessible this trek is.
Yeah, a few hours from Kathmandu and you're in the heart of the Himalayas.
But it still feels remote, like you're really getting away.
It's that perfect balance. You can do it even on a shorter trip.
Without missing out on that true Himalayan experience.
Exactly. And it's not just about the mountains either.
Right. Langtang Valley offers so much variety.
You've got the challenging climbs, but also the leisurely exploration, the cultural stuff.
And those quiet moments, surrounded by all that beauty.
It's more than just checking it off your list. It's really experiencing it all.
And testing your limits, too,
Yep.
which brings us back to that new guide requirement.
Yeah, that's a big change.
It might seem restrictive at first, but I actually think it adds something valuable.
In what way?
Having that local guide with you, it just enhances everything.
Safety, for sure. But what else?
They give you insights you wouldn't get otherwise. The history, the culture.
And it ensures that tourism benefits the local communities.
Right. It's about responsible travel on all levels.
Respecting the environment, but also the people.
Speaking of respect, David Ways has some good advice on that.
Oh yeah, like what?
Learning some basic Nepali phrases, dressing modestly.
Just being mindful of the local customs.
Simple things, but they make a difference. It shows you care.
Definitely. It's all about building those connections. Speaking of David Ways.
His guidebook has been so helpful.
He really has. Anyone who wants to learn more, plan their own trip.
It's a must-read. He also has that website, The Longest Way Home.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. All about Nepal travel.
Tons of practical info, stories, amazing photos.
Gets you in the mood for adventure.
He's clearly passionate about Nepal. It shows in his work.
So, our virtual Langtang Valley trek might be over, but...
Hopefully it's just the beginning for some of our listeners.
Exactly. Whether you're drawn to the challenge, the scenery, the culture.
Langtang Valley has something for everyone.
Just remember to prepare well, respect the place and the people.
And most importantly, enjoy the journey.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Oh. That's it for our Langtang Valley exploration. Thanks for joining us.